Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. We are back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be showcasing my latest rank 3 champion, who is none other than Stark Enhanced Spider-Man, one of the legends, the gods of the contest from back in 2017 and 2018. And thanks to our very own legend in the content creator program, Legacy, we have access to this guy as a 7-star now. I went all in, picked him twice after finishing Karina's challenges the other day, and even put in 46 stones to him. Maybe a little unnecessary, maybe a little insane, but hey, I'm trying to have a little bit of fun here, and he is now ranked 3 660. He is one of the biggest Stark Enhanced Spider-Mans in the entire contest, I would imagine, and we're going to showcase him in a ton of content. Now, a lot of people know how this guy works, so I'm not going to really go into the ability. If you kind of want to see how the SIG scales, you can see here that we have over 1000 crit rating per poise charge, which is going to add up at 10 poise charges to nearly 85% crit rating, which is quite powerful, and it is really one of those things where I would not want this champion unawakened. I can immediately use him now that he has the longer taunts and the additional crit rating. It is such a good ability, and something that if you really want to use this champion, I would just suggest getting him twice. Personally, I think that's the way to go, even though getting Massacre or Spidey 99 would also be fun. We just don't know when an awakening gem is going to appear, and I decided to go for it now so I could enjoy him immediately. Now, other than that, looking at his SIG real quick, the only other thing I wanted to talk about before we get into the gameplay is just how I think those Karina's challenges by the CCP were just a 10 out of 10 for me in terms of design and how it all landed, where I am in the game, and what is fun for me. Now, I know not everybody loved them, but for me personally, I love a piece of content that is challenging, that requires specific rank ups, and also for me personally, something that can't be done right away. It took me over 3 months to get through all of these challenges. I had to rank up several champions, I had to practice, I had to watch videos, I had to theory craft, and also had to kind of wait for downtime in the game because the game is so busy. There's so much player versus environment content this year that I really needed to be like, hey, is there nothing going on this week? Is my revive stash looking good? All right, we're looking good. I'm going to go in, and being able to do that, having this on the back burner, but just having something to chew on and to work on in the background was so much fun for me. And the best part is that I ended the content and I got one of my favorite champions. I was able to immediately rank him up, and that sort of dopamine hit of finishing the content and getting something so tangible and so powerful as a rank 3 champion of this level, so unique, and someone that means a lot to me personally in my history of the game, was just an absolute A+. So I just didn't want to continue without saying that first. Kudos to the 3 CCP members, that would be Fintech, Karate Mike, and Legacy, for creating these challenges. For me personally, they just totally hit the spot. They were a home run, and I had a great time. Now, in this video, the way we're going to do it, we're going to do a quick damage test to show you exactly what the big yellow numbers are on this guy. Then we're going to go from small to big. We're going to start with Battlegrounds, then we're going to go into the Grandmaster's Gauntlet, then we're going to go into Eternity of Pain bosses, and then finally we're going to take a look at what his damage is like in Necropolis. So I want to try to hit it all to show you that this guy is still relevant today. He does big damage, which sometimes is enough. He's got that clutch power drain every once in a while, and the taunt debuff, and sometimes that's all you need in this game, is just some big damage and a little bit of utility. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's get started with some gameplay. Alright, so to get things started here, we're going to just do a simple damage test. Now this is against Old Man Logan in Labyrinth of Legends, and just of note, this is a 5-star, so the challenge rating that we have is going to be quite advantageous. Which means that, you know, if we were going up against another 7-star, we would have somewhere around 85% crit rate, which means 85% of our hits are going to crit once we get to 10 poise charges, but it may even be higher here in this fight. So now let's get started. We've got our 10 poise, and you can see at 10 poise, we're doing 29k on the mediums and 18k on the lights. So far, all 10 hits of those first 2 combos crit, so you can see that it is quite high. And then the heavy attacks are going to be hitting the damage cap. So, you know, we're basically just critting all over the place. And, you know, the reason I put those SIGs in him is because you don't take the entire fight at, you know, all 10 poise charges, right? Like sometimes you're in the flow, and you can see now I have 7 poise. And as we just got evaded there, that was unfortunate, but it happens. So you can see that even at 7 poise, we're pretty much critting all the time. And I think that's the main advantage of putting some SIG stones into him, because when you have 10 poise, the difference between SIG 20 and SIG 60 is not that great. But as your poise drops and you get around that like 5 range or so, it actually does make a pretty big difference to have some SIGs in him. It just means you're going to continue to crit a lot. Now, I really like that the crit rate and the damage bonus is translated to your relic, so that when you hit with the relic, you also are pretty much hitting for the same you would on a light attack, which is pretty awesome. So now we can see that we are down in poise a little bit, so I am going to just kind of build up once again. That is, of course, one of the disadvantages of him, is needing to ramp up, but it's just so easy that you can see, you know, that we're pretty much going to finish him off with this stun lock here. And that'll do it. So a 42k crit at the end, and we're talking about less than 2 minutes for 1.5 million health, and that's pretty smooth. He doesn't rely on any kind of dot or anything like that. So now we're going to move on to some Battlegrounds. This is Ascended Absorbing Man, right? So we are rank 3. He is essentially rank 2 level, and he's a little bit annoying, and we have this sort of tenacity business going on here. So the way I like to play him in Battlegrounds, and in most cases, is I usually try to do at least 1 combo or a 4-hit combo, just because that creates a little bit of distance, and it kind of sets the AI to start dashing in and out at you. It almost certainly is what happens. So we take 1 blocked hit there, and now we're off to the races. Now we hope that the stun sticks, and it does. It was pretty safe. It's not like we pushed him red. Then we go into the relic, and then 1 heavy attack that would have power drained him, just in case the fight was any longer. But you can see it only took 40 seconds to take down a rank 2, and we easily won that match. Now next up, I want to give a big shout out to my buddy Yates, who did a friendly with me. I wanted to go up against a rank 5 Onslaught. Now notice this is not Ascended, but you're going to kind of see that the way the fight ends, it didn't really matter. If he had like another 50k health in the combo string, I probably would have gotten him down. Now, because of just the way the hitboxes are, I missed a couple dexes early on, so that is going to unfortunately add a few seconds. Yeah, so we're missing some of our dexes, and that's kind of on me. But what I kind of want to show here is that he has so much damage, and in Battlegrounds you have the addition of the relic, which basically, in tandem with your special 1 and using the relic, you can just get these like massive stun chains at 10 poise, and usually that's going to be enough to take the opponent down. So this is kind of what I'm talking about. If he had more health, I could have gone right in after the stun. I could have done another 5-hit combo. I could have done the relic, and then I could have done another 5-hit combo. So I really think, even though this was just a rank 5 Onslaught, that combo chain would have taken him down, and it still would have been about 49k points. So I just kind of wanted to show, against an annoying defender like that, you don't even have to bait any of their specials. And, you know, thanks to my buddy Yate for all those Stark Enhanced emojis at the end. That was super fun. So that's, you know, and then the other thing is we do have the auto evade, right? So if he does throw a special 1, we get a little assistance on the evade. Next up, we have Kindred, who ironically is pretty good for Stark Enhanced, and I am going straight in, and I'm wishing, because I do end up losing this fight to Juggernaut, I'm actually wishing that I built a little bit of poise. But what I like to do immediately is to punish the special 1, and we're going to do it again right here to show exactly how we make it happen. We do a little power drain first, but you know, Spider-Verse heroes get a longer pause, but you can see the timing here on how we do the special 1 punish. We bait it out, you dash in, and you either get an assist from an evade or you just block the hit. Now we throw the special 2, and what I'm trying to line up at the end of this fight is to make sure that he doesn't hit 50 on his little counter. That time we did have to block and take a little bit of damage, and if I was a little bit smarter, I would have held on to that special, because now we just wasted a little bit of time in the route. but he is essentially dead, and we didn't really take any degen or any kind of damage like that. Unfortunately, we lose because Juggernaut is just ridiculous, but a 48.3 score against a rank 2 Kindred is pretty good, considering I could have played that a little bit better. So I have an entire video going over Battlegrounds rotations with him, and there are some even more annoying defenders in that, so I am going to just link the card to that real quick if you want to check that out. So moving out of Battlegrounds, we're going to move on to the Grandmaster's Gauntlets. Now this is Vision, who has a node that basically makes him go Special 1, then Special 2, then Special 3. So we're going to showcase that the Taunt debuff is going to allow us to be able to take him on and not really worry about that aspect of the node. So right there he has a Taunt, and he throws the Special 1. He's not supposed to do that. He's supposed to throw a Special 2 next. So now the thing with Grandmaster's Gauntlet, of course, is that this did come out in the era when they were rank 3, 6 stars, and 5 stars were still supreme. But nonetheless, this damage, it's not like anybody and their brother, even a rank 3 7-star, can just take this Vision. So we're just showing a little bit of the utility. The other random utility he has is that the shocks last longer and are more powerful against robot champions. So that's just another hidden piece of utility, and we're just taking him down so fast, right? Even though it is an old piece of content and we have rank 3 champions now, you know, that was just sort of a showcase of just a little bit of power control in the taunt, and the power drain is enough to get that down. And, you know, we're talking about a pretty sizable health pool still in just 1 minute. So the combination of the damage plus the power control is quite good. Now, originally I wasn't going to continue in the Gauntlet, but I thought just for fun, let's see what happens if I go on to this Murdock. He doesn't have that crazy of nodes. It's like Hard Knock Life and the Enhanced Special 1, and then just his normal auto block silliness. But the damage against this guy was absolutely crazy, and maybe somebody smarter than me can tell me why. It may have something to do with the way his stats work with the flux, because I know that generally like his block proficiency and maybe physical resistance or something is pretty low. So we're gonna see a few things here. When I hit into his block with 10 poise charges, it's hitting for like 6k, right? So that's kind of nuts. And then we were getting up to like 45k on the mediums, which was more than Old Man Logan. So the damage here is just absolutely nuts. And again, I'm not 100% sure why, but, you know, this guy is just an absolute nuke. I mean, look at this. This is crazy, right? The Gauntlet, I mean, I know that we're a rank 3 here, but these are still pretty tough bosses. And then we're going to throw this heavy here for 93k, so that was a pretty nice little heavy crit there. So yeah, he's just going down like nothing. We get the relic off, and he's basically down, and we get a little assisted evade there, and that's going to be the end of Murdock. So we absolutely rinsed him as well. So I think what we're seeing here is that rank 3s in the Gauntlet, you know, they're a little overpowered, and that's totally fine. So what happens if we move on to Eternity of Pain? This is the Bishop from Eternity of Pain, which is not an easy fight. And, you know, for Starkey, there are a couple things that are going to make this annoying. There's the Meltdown node, and then also if we are passive for too long, we're going to get these shocks on us. So I decided that I wanted to just eat 2 of the shocks because it would keep me over 50%, which is mostly what we needed here. And then we do need to transfer this Meltdown, and basically we're just going to push him to special 2s and stuff. It's also got Hurt Locker, so we have to be a little careful of that. And now we get to baiting a special 2, and we're going to get a nice... Well, actually, that time it looks like we just dexed it straight up. So that was all skill there. We didn't need the assisted evade, but it is there occasionally if you need it. And also, because we're a tech champion, he's not building prowess, so we could, you know, do the thing where we block out of it just to be safe. One of the reasons that I like him. So now we're going to let the Meltdown timer go off. Everything's working out great there. We do need to... be a little careful here. One of the other things that was nice is due to Hurt Locker, we actually used the stun to land our heavy attack, which is the way you cancel the damage from Hurt Locker. We just did it right there again, which is so nice. It means you can just spam special 1s and basically not have to worry about Hurt Locker. And just like that, he goes down, and we never dipped below 50%. So in my recollection of that bishop, I know I've gotten several solos on him over the year or so that he's been out, but that was the smoothest solo by far. So EoP type stuff, there's definitely always a bunch of Spider-Verse type challenges, things like that. I'm going to really look forward to in, Summer of Sorrow or whatever we're in, Spring of Sorrow and whatnot. I'm very much looking forward to using him when we have the Spider-Verse challenges because he just does so much damage. And in that case, everything worked out great. So the final fight has already started and you kind of see where I'm going here. I wanted to see how much damage I could do in one try against this Jubilee. I'm not really planning on being able to solo, but I do think a player that is more skilled than myself or somebody using boosts may actually be able to solo this fight. So it's going to be going on for a little bit of time. So I do have a little bit of time to explain what's going on here and why I thought this might be a good matchup. So first of all, I just want to showcase before we get into the abilities here, this is that sort of like stun chain business that I was talking about. Just absolutely insane how long you can go, and then it doesn't matter that you're red. If they're stunned or relic stunned, you can just use your power drain to make that happen, right? So first off, let's talk about the synergies here. So there are a few various spider tangent characters on here. I think I have essentially like 18% extra attack. So the reason those are there is I didn't want to waste a boost, but this is about like a 20% boost. So just in the back of your head, just think about that. Like we're not max boosted here, but we do have 18% extra attack. The other two synergies that really matter, one of them I used against Bishop, and it was the Spidey Supreme one, which shortens your power drain on the heavy by 7.5 seconds on the cooldown. So it goes from 30 seconds to whatever that is, 22.5 seconds, which is pretty amazing. Like taking off 7.5 seconds on that so you get it earlier is quite good. The other interesting synergy that was always a little cheesy for him is Miles Morales, which lengthens basically all of your important debuffs, including stun, including parry stun as well. So this means that if you're very quick and there's no limber, you can actually do medium and then another combo. And then it also means you can get a few more hits off when you are using your special one stun. So those are the only synergies on here, and they are pretty nice and something that you may want to call in every once in a while. One synergy I didn't test in this video is the Shocker one, but that gives you access to Rupture, which doesn't add a ton of damage overall. It does add a little bit, but just the fact that you can actually get some red damage over time, sometimes that can help with stuff like, polka dot power, and it's just off of your medium attacks, which is pretty amazing. So don't sleep on that Shocker synergy. It's actually quite good for him. But anyway, back to this fight. You've probably figured out what's going on by now. Essentially, when she throws the special attack, whichever one of her little forms is active, you'll see on your HUD like an M, an L, or an H, and it basically means you have to only use those attacks, and the highlighted attack is going to give you an attack bonus. It's why our mediums right now are hitting like really hard, more than normal. Notice we only have like 5 poise charges and they're still hitting for almost 40k. So essentially you want to do that, otherwise it's going to give her a huge burst of power. When you dex the special, it also gives her a burst of power. So this is a pretty big disruption fight. And then the other thing is anytime we crit, we're getting these little passives on us. The Stifle is pretty rough for us because it means we're not going to have access to our special attacks. The Stifle just really reduces your combat power rates. So right here, we are being a little aggressive here. Like we did earlier, we're just doing this to get the power drain off, but we're pretty much down to 50% and we just started the second enrage. So again, if I had played even better, I think I could have maybe, if I like nailed everything in the root and managed everything in this fight, I think it is possible to get a solo here since her specials are fully dexable. But I do end up dying, after I take off a little bit of health, like another 10% health or so. But pretty incredible showcase there. By the way, that was really lucky. So we just extended the try a little bit by a very lucky landed heavy there. But really the point of this that I wanted to show is that his damage in this fight is all we're actually going to get extremely lucky here again. I just have to point it out. We wait, then we go in, then we do the relic, and then it says EMP web ready, and we do it once again. So that's why I love that synergy with Spidey Supreme, because you get it back so much faster and it can really save your butt multiple times. So I love that synergy. But anyway, what I was getting at is, you think about the really good Necropolis champions are the ones like Shuri and Kate, who have that constant dot damage that once you set it up, it just stays going and going and going forever. And then during the special attacks, when your thing is paused, you're pretty much good to go on that. You just continue to do the damage. This is all yellow number damage, which is, it's very rare to find champions like, once again, if you think about the champions like Wong and Kate and Shuri, those are the real studs when it comes to Necropolis, because they have that constant damage. There are very few champions that have just like straight up big yellow numbers that can do this much. We got down to 33%, which mathematically, that is 5.3 million health, and we didn't even run out of charges. We could have kept going. It got away from me a little bit, but for 5.5 minutes to do 5.3 million damage is just absolutely nuts. What is that, like 1 million damage per minute or something? So just wanted to showcase that, because, maybe not in Necropolis, like a lot of people have already explored it if you're getting your Stark Enhanced Spider-Man by now. But, I did want to kind of point out that damage on a long period of time is quite impressive. And it was cool to see in that fight where he did have some stuff getting in his way, like having to combo a very specific way and not really being able to throw that many specials. That he still was able to do that amount of damage pretty safely. Like, that was the best try I had, but a lot of my tries were easily getting under 50%, which means 1 revive, which is really good in Necropolis. If you can do a 1 revive try, that is a huge W. Not everyone's going to be Shuri or Kate, right? So anyway, that is that. So again, I do have a Battleground showcase of my 6-star. If you do want to see some more tricky matchups and just even at that power level, how good he is, a lot of that will translate to the rank 3. If you have some requests for more fights that you want to see, I'm absolutely into this guy and would love to make more content. But I think this is where we're going to wrap it up for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. More content coming soon. I appreciate you guys. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.